Yeah. Check. Good audio? Cool. Hey, what's going on? It is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Chrisman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Friday, 12 noon Eastern time, to help you understand how to grow your real estate business. And that's what we're talking about today. Something that is super essential to really building a long-term business, and that's follow-up. You might have heard the expression before, the fortune is in the follow-up, but now exactly how far does that go? How far is it? When do you stop following up? When is it that you write somebody off? And are you doing that already with people? So that's what we're covering today. Fortune in the follow-up. My name is John Christopher. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. You're watching State of Real Estate. State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. And welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Chrisman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here again every Friday, 12 noon Eastern time, helping you understand how to grow your real estate business. And what we're talking about today is follow-up. Now look, if you're studying for your exam, for exam purposes, for a real estate exam, follow-up just means after the sale. But once you pass your exam, follow-up doesn't just mean after the sale. I don't have a statistic on this, but most agents will quit following up before they even have a sale. They'll quit communicating with people that they meet, that they start a relationship with. I know I've been guilty of it before, of times where you've got some prospect and you don't quite nurture them like you should be nurturing them, and that results in you not having that relationship when they do actually need your services. Thank you. Be able to see you guys here clearly now. Cool. So, every person you meet is an opportunity. Every person that you meet is an opportunity. Whether they're an opportunity today or tomorrow is a different story, but every person that you meet is an opportunity. There is business to be had from that person. You think of what we're selling in real estate. Number one thing that you need is water. Number two is food. And number three is shelter. We're the ones in the business of that shelter. So even if they don't need our business today, they're going to need it at some point in the future. Whether that's tomorrow, whether that's 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, 10 years, it depends. But treat your real estate business as if it's going to exist forever. Treat your business as if it's going to exist forever, that it's going to last forever, that it's going to be practicing forever. Because even when you're ready to retire or you want to get out of the real estate business, if you really built up a model that works, that has follow-up, that's something that is marketable, that you could sell your real estate business. Even if you're not a brokerage, there's agents out there that will basically sell their database of clients it is that they followed up with. So even on the ultimate, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, whenever it is that, you might think you want to retire from real estate, maybe you never want to, but you have that as a possibility if you've built up this client base. Think of how often you're meeting somebody and you get on the topic of real estate. Whether this is somebody that you're meeting at an open house, whether this is a lead that you got online from whatever leads website you might be pulling these leads from, so maybe that's where you're finding these people. Maybe you're getting this information off of wherever. Maybe they are a past client. You need to have a system in place to follow up. And when you first start out, you're able to get away with this, of just keeping everything in your head or just in your recent text message history or email history or whatnot. And that works for a very small business, for a very small pool of clients. But you probably don't want to have just a small pool of clients. You probably don't want to have just a very limited amount of business. So you've got to move on past that. And really what I would recommend is just at first, just start writing it down on paper. Before you go invest in some sort of technology, some sort of software, some sort of service, just start writing, keep track of these people on paper. You know, before computers, the way people would do this is they'd have a whole filing system for follow-up, and they would just kind of shuffle through these 0 through 30, and when they're going to follow up, and they just move them out to however many days out they want to follow up with that person, and they would basically just keep sorting through those files. Now, that also really not too scalable, because really you start building out and having much more clients, you're going to need a huge filing cabinet drawer to keep track of them all, and especially all the data that's available to be tracked on. But start with something simple, even if it's just keeping track of all these people on paper, so you start to understand what you're doing when you're keeping track of them. And that might be something you're already doing. Maybe you've got a Google spreadsheet, maybe you've got just a pad of paper where you're writing these people down, maybe some little black book, maybe you're using the Contacts app on your phone. But that really isn't going to be a long-term solution if you want to go past having maybe 50 or 100 clients. Or not even clients, just I would say prospects. So that's another issue with this whole follow-up conversation, that a lot of agents are only concerned with a client and not so much just a prospect. Well, that prospect can someday become a client if you nurture that prospect, if you continue to stay in touch with them and follow up with them. Now look, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to have a system in place that keeps tracks of all of your deals at the different stages, whether that's somebody that, is very far from doing any business with you, to the people that are currently doing business with you, to the people that you've already done business with. So we're going to talk about how to manage that, but first we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Christopher. You're watching State of Real Estate. What's required to become a Florida real estate broker? Well, a few things. Number one, you have to have at least 2 years experience as a sales associate or a broker. Now, this experience could actually even be earned outside of Florida. It just has to be 2 years within the last 5 years. So 2 years of experience to become a broker. You also need to take a pre-licensing course. The broker pre-licensing course is 72 hours. It's got a 100 question and, of course, exam. Once you pass that and file all your paperwork with the state to upgrade to a broker license, then you just need to pass your state exam. That's another 100 question exam. You need to get a 75% on that. You complete those items and you'll have a Florida real estate broker license, where you can open your own office or just remain with your current broker as a broker associate. To find out more about upgrading your real estate license to broker, check out upgradetobroker.com. That's upgradetobroker.com. You're watching State of Real Estate. And so welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, talking about how you could grow your real estate business, how you could take it to the next level. So something that you've probably heard before, that your network is your net worth. And as much as, you might hate, because I'm somebody that, these cliche sayings that people say, I'm like, I don't like that, because that's something that everybody says, and if it's that easy, then it can't be that easy. But it is that easy. Most people don't actually nurture their network, and that's what a good follow-up system will do. Every person you interact with, every person that's a prospect, whether or not they're getting business today is a different story. They might be buying business down the road, however many years into the future. So you want some sort of CRM type of database to keep track of this. And this is where you're really going to be able to scale past just like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The most I think you're able to do without having some sort of advanced system in place is maybe about 100 people. And that's even if you have like these little file things. I mean, you got more than 100 files, your head's just going to be spinning, especially if somebody calls you out of the blue and you're like, crap, where do I have their file on this? Now with these technological systems, you can just search for that information. Start out with something more basic, just on paper, so you get the idea of what it is that you want to do. But you want something to house all of your contact info, their name, email, notes, phone number, of course. And really this notes section, this is going to be something that's really powerful, because what this allows you to do, because if we take the statistics that on average somebody buys and sells every 5 to 7 years, do you remember every person it is that you worked with 5, 7, maybe even 10 years ago? You might remember who they are, but the details about them are going to be fuzzy unless you have good notes that you put in your contact database. So you don't just have their name, their email, their phone number, but you have really good notes in there about whatever nuances it is about this person, whether they have kids, what their kids' names are, their spouse, so on and so forth, all these details that you want to translate into, it's really an artificial brain that just remembers everything about your clients unless you choose to delete it. Our brains up here, we don't get to choose whether we delete something. This brain makes its own decisions for what it thinks is important. But with a technological system or whatever type of system, you could commit this stuff to the system and have it there forever. So you get a call from somebody, hey, it's Bill Smith, and you just type in their name real quick, Bill Smith, in your web browser in this system, and you say, oh yeah, Bill Smith, hey Bill, how's it going? And then he's talking, you're kind of just skimming over the notes there. Oh yeah, how are the kids doing? Because you see in the notes, oh yeah, they have kids. They have 2 kids that play soccer. Are they still playing soccer? So now it seems like you do have a relationship with this person. Whereas, and you probably do, but you're not going to have that perception if you're like, oh, hey, Bill, yeah, I think I remember working with you. What can I do for you? You're starting all over from the beginning if you don't maintain that relationship. And maybe you don't bring these things up on the call, but maybe you get an appointment there with Bill, and you go up before you go on your appointment. You review all your notes about Bill. You review all the past activities. You see if he checks out your newsletter that you send him out, or whatever it is that you're doing for additional follow-up. The key, the name of the game here, is compiling this data into one easy-to-use system where you've got a profile that lists out all the details of each one of these clients. And now what you also want the capability of is the ability to not just have a profile of each person, but you also want the ability to track deals. And when I say deal, I don't mean a pending contract. That's basically the end of a deal, almost the end of a deal when you've got a pending contract. What I mean is that you help Bill buy a house, and now a new deal is created for Bill selling that house. And you create that deal right away, but you put it in, you have different stages. You have different stages, or essentially different buckets of the deal that they're in, different steps in the pipeline that they're in. So if they just bought a house, someday they're going to sell that house most likely. On average, it's 5 to 7 years. So you load them in there under past clients that bought a house. And then as you touch base with them, because you want to still have phone conversations with them, maybe text message, maybe Facebook, whatever the case may be, and when you start to notice that they're moving from just being a past client to this deal being potential, you start talking to them, and it's like, yeah, we've been thinking about, upgrading, upsizing. We're not sure if we're ready to do it yet, but, maybe next year or in 2 years. So now they're moving into the potential realm. They're moving from just being a past client back into being a potential another contract, a potential another commission. And what this allows you to do is keep track of every person of where they're at in your pipeline. So you're keeping track. You don't have to guess if they're ready to buy, they're ready to sell. As you start to pick up these indicators, when you talk to them, when you text them, when you follow them on Facebook, or however it is that you're staying in touch with them, you go pull up their profile in your CRM system and you update their deal to being a potential. And now maybe when they're a potential, that's where you start sending them some information. And you have different stages you could lay out here of how hot or cold ultimately it is, how ripe they are. Are they just a blossom, Or are they turning into a fruit that's ready to be picked? So you keep track of this because the key thing is you want to provide the right information at the right time. Now, there's a bunch of ways to follow up that in the meantime, whether that's maybe some sort of newsletter, which I don't think those are going to be the best way to follow up. I wouldn't say not to do it, but don't rely just on some sort of newsletter to get you business. It's good to do, but it's not going to be something that guarantees you future business. It's just something that's going to help them not forget you. So maybe that's one thing that you do. Maybe just some sort of like newsletter about what you got going on. But mainly you want to maintain that relationship. Find out what it is unique about them. Keep that information in your database and then just stay in touch with them. Stay in touch with them. Ask for referrals. So when they're in that earlier stage in your pipeline that they're not ready to buy or sell yet, you call them maybe quarterly. Every couple of months, hey, just wanted to check in, see how you guys are doing. How's life been? How are the kids? How is this? How is that? Just wanted to chat with you, see how things are going. And, of course, I'm always looking for referrals. So, if do you have anybody that you've talked to recently? Who do you have? Who needs to buy or sell? Because I'd love to take care of them as well. So I need some business. And when you're direct with people like this and you have this conversation of asking directly for referrals, you'll get referrals. It might be a little awkward at first, but you preempt this right away by telling them from the beginning, hey, look, I want to provide you guys a great service, so that way not only when you go to sell this house in 10 years that you're going to use me again, but in the meantime, that everyone that needs to buy or sell a house, that I'm going to provide you such great service that you'll want to give those people my information so they could contact me, so that way I could provide that same level of service to them. So the follow-up really has two big benefits. Number one, getting repeat business, and number two, getting referrals. But what you've also want to do, so these we're talking about past clients. Now we got to shift gears back into just prospects that you talk to. Maybe you meet with somebody. So I know a lot of agents will do this, that they'll meet with somebody and maybe they'll go to get a pre-qualification for a loan and their credit's basically down the drain right now and they can't qualify to finance a ham sandwich, let alone get a mortgage loan. So you're like, no, I don't want to deal with them. And you basically just take that. Maybe you don't do this consciously, but if you don't follow up with them, you're basically taking that lead and tossing it into the garbage. Now, it's not going to be the best use of your time to go show properties to somebody who is unqualified, but you do want to maintain that relationship. You want to maintain that relationship. And there's a lot of ways you could do that to stay in touch with them. So maybe that their credit, and they're going to be disappointed. They're going to think that they've messed up in life because they can't now get loans to buy a property or whatever the case may be, and they're going to be real down in the dumps. Hey, I completely understand. You're a special type of person if you could say that you've never had issues with credit or income or anything like that. Most of us in real estate, we've been through that part of our lives. Maybe we're going through it right now. You never know. And we don't necessarily want to look down on them and say, oh, you're a crap client. You're not going to give me any money. I'm never want to do business with you. No, this is somebody that if we could provide value, remember, the right information at the right time. The right information they need is for credit repair, for credit building. So maybe you send them out some information that's, oh, yeah, I completely understand. I wish that wasn't the case because I'd love to sell you guys a home. But you know what? I've got some information I could send out to you that just gives you some steps to help you get out of debt, to help develop a budget and things like that. So you maintain that relationship and you keep following up with them. You keep staying in touch. Hey, have you taken a look at that? Maybe even work with some sort of like these, you see them all the time on Facebook or wherever, these credit repair experts that can potentially help you, build your credit, maybe renegotiate some stuff and things like that. Maybe it's not such a bad issue to fix. Maybe it's something that can be the credits type of stuff that could sometimes bounce back fairly quickly. So the point being, though, even as much as you want to just throw away a client, even if you want to do it, maybe you don't want to do it, it's just happening, you put them in the database, you have systems in place for deals that are in these different stages. That is a potential deal. Just because they can't qualify for a loan today doesn't mean they can't qualify for a loan tomorrow or 6 months or a year, whatever the case may be. So you want to stay on top of them. You want to ensure that you started that relationship, that you're continuing that relationship until it does result in earning business. And this is really in real estate, it is a sales business, but it's really all about maintaining the relationship. There's a statistic that, and this is a general statistic, it doesn't apply specifically with real estate. It does apply in real estate, but it's not specific for real estate, that it takes 80% of deals, it takes at least 5 contacts to close them. At least 5 with 80%. And that, for real estate, that could mean that we have to interact with them at least 5 times before they're saying, okay, I'm ready to buy, I'm ready to sell. Or maybe they just came to you and you're showing them houses that, maybe it's going to be at least 5 houses you've got to show them before they're ready to commit to a decision. Or maybe it's 7 or 10 or whatever the case may be. Or maybe with a seller about listing a property for sale. Maybe you get them right there in one call, one appointment, listed and done. Or maybe they're thinking about it, but they're not quite ready yet. The earlier you could get in, now really the best time to get in is right after the sale, because you just helped them with their previous sale. So you just helped them with their previous sale, and you say, oh, that's fantastic. You guys are going to have many years of happy times in this home here. Thank you so much for trusting in me. Maybe you give them a little closing gift or something like that. And then you're following up with them every couple of months. Hey, just want to check in with you guys. How's the new house? How's the new condo? How's it treating you? How's whatever neighborhood? How's life? How's the kids? Again, just asking how they're doing, because people just like this to, have that connection. It's a very human thing, regardless of what type of personality type you are or anything like that. Having that connection with others is something people value. So the more we can facilitate that, the more ingrained it is that we become in their life, the more it is that we're going to get their business again in the future, but also, again, the referrals in the meantime. But we also have to think before we even have any money in our pocket, before we even think there's any chance of getting our money in our pocket, there is always an opportunity. Remember, first thing I put up here, every person you meet is an opportunity. They might not be an opportunity today, but tomorrow, 6 months, a year, 10 years, who knows how long it's going to take? That's the question. Whether or not they're an opportunity is a yes. It's just how long before you can cash in on that opportunity. And it would be nice if it's as easy as just hopping right in there right when the iron is hot. And sometimes you get lucky like that, where you just have business that comes to you right there as soon as they need to buy or sell, that you just magically meet them at the right time. You're in the right place at the right time. But part of this is ensuring that throughout this relationship, that you're there early on, and that you're consistently there, that you're persistent, that you stay in contact with them, and then when it finally does come time, and all this time you haven't been paid yet, but then once that window opens, that we're ready for real estate services, we're ready to buy, we're ready to sell, that we've already got this relationship established, that they're ready to use us, and it just makes everything go a lot smoother because we've already built that rapport over time. Now, this is something, again, that doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that you create right away. It's something that takes a while to build. But even when you're brand new to real estate, even before you've got your real estate license, there's probably people that you've talked to that you're getting your real estate license. And so you already want to start doing this. You already want to start keeping track of all of your contacts, because every contact you have is a potential contract. The key to turning a contact into a contract is the R, the relationship. You're using this technology, this database, however it is that you're going about doing this, you're using this to maintain that relationship, to build and maintain that relationship, to keep track of all the information that they've given you, so that way you just know. You just know them better, you understand them, you understand where they're coming from, what type of person that they are, and how to most effectively deal with them. Again, you do that, whatever basic contact info you've got in there, but mainly those notes. Those little notes, those little things that, after you go meet on an appointment with somebody, you go make a quick note in your database. Yeah, I met with them on this day. They're a potential seller. Met with them to go over some repairs that they should make on the property. They won't be ready to list for another 6 months. We'll follow up next week to see what they're planning to do for repairs. And you should be able to set reminders and tasks and things like that so you can stay on top of them. It's really about making sure that every person that comes in contact with you, that they know, they see, they know, they are sure that you are the person that they want to do business with. To, again, maintain that relationship. That's the thing that turns a contact into a contract, is having the relationship, maintaining the relationship. That R, the extra R that's in contract, that's not in contact, is the relationship. So look, that's about all the time we've got for today. Look, if you haven't taken post-licensing yet, the post-licensing course, so if you're new to real estate, the post-licensing course is very different than your pre-licensing course, and it talks about, maybe not as in-depth as we went just about a database today, but it goes over these things that you need to know about of maintaining a database, of staying on top of people, of really, even if this is just something as basic of just having index cards of every person it is that you work with, because then you start to see what you ultimately want to do. You know, it's really easy to get overwhelmed by the technology that's out there and what the technology can do, but then you end up just focused on the technology and not actually focusing on the clients. And that's why I recommend, start with something simple first. Keep track on a piece of paper, a note card, a pad, a Google spreadsheet, whatever it is that you're going to do. Just something super simple so you understand it's really more about the contacts and the relationship that you're establishing with them, not necessarily about that piece of technology that's there. It's just there to assist you in maintaining that technology. That, along with many other topics, is what you're learning about in post-licensing. So if you haven't taken that yet, get enrolled. It's required for your renewal requirement, and on top of that, it's going to help you learn how to build your real estate business, so you actually are more likely to make money in real estate, or if you're already making money, making more money in real estate. So find out more about that at postflorida.com, or if you've got questions on anything, give us a call. The phone number is 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. That's about all the time we've got for today, so thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. You're watching State of Real Estate.